Welcome back to our series of short videos about Spartan happenings featuring teachers and students from GHS highlighting the many exciting and engaging learning experiences we have here. I'm Marissa Sandoval. Let me introduce you to Miss Asher talking about poetry out loud.
My name is Jessica Asher. I am an English teacher here at Gonzales High School. I'm also the department lead. And a couple years ago, we brought in Poetry Out Loud as a supplemental curriculum. Poetry Out Loud is a national poetry recitation competition. Students memorize and then perform from an anthology of poetry. To compete, they memorize two poems, one that is pre-20th century, one that is post. And it's really about bringing those poems to life. So it teaches a lot of close reading skills, and just to kind of really connect with literature and find ways to kind of express yourself even within the world of published literature. So there's a couple of ways. Some classes, including mine, especially my AP literature class, it starts off as an assignment. They must memorize two different poems, and then they go on to the class-wide competition. From the class-wide competition, we send people on to the school-wide competition, and then from there, we send a finalist and a runner-up onto the county-wide. Students can also choose to just participate on their own. All the English teachers, even if they're not going to use it as class curriculum, offer that opportunity. And actually our champion this year was someone who wasn't doing this through a class but had participated previously, and she decided she wanted to come back for a second year, and she went on to be our finalist and ended up winning county. Students do select their own poems. Like I said, there are some parameters. One must be older than 20th century, one must be younger. The poems all come from the Poetry Out Loud anthology, so they do have to be from that site. But within those parameters, students do get to pick their own poems. And there's a lot of encouragement to really pick a poem that they are going to personally connect to, and that they feel that, expresses them in some way. So even though they are not writing these pieces, they're the ones that are performing them and bringing them to life. So it's really, really helpful if there's something within the poem that they personally connect to. But there's a lot of joy in watching these performances. I don't want to use the word surprise because our kiddos are great, right? They excel at so many different things. But I think the students themselves are often surprised at how well they and their peers do. For most, I would say 90% of the kids that do this is kind of a novel experience that they haven't had much to relate to. They might have done public speaking, or maybe they did a monologue once in theater, but this is really its own skill and its own activity and its own art form, really. So I think students are surprised at how much they're able to do. They all start off in a, we have to do what? And then it turns into a really beautiful performance by the end of it. So for me, it's not surprise. It's just a lot of joy at the performance. So the first thing is understanding the poem. In class, they go through a process called typecast, where they sort of dig deep and they analyze the pieces that they've chosen. And then memorization becomes part of it. We work with students to get them some tips and some tricks on memorization. And their first performance is actually a memorization check. There's no expectation of performance, but the goal is to get through their pieces memorized with no prompting, with nothing in front of them. And then from there, it goes into the performance piece, and they treat it very much like a monologue in drama. They block out the poems. They think about where they're going to put gestures, if they're going to use gestures, when their facial expressions are going to change, when the tone of their voice is going to change. And the goal is really to make these poems as understandable to an audience that hasn't heard these before as possible. So it's about bringing poetry to life and really trying to embody that, from words on the page into this full performance. So the recent event, this year it was early February. Every year, like I said, we send a finalist and a runner-up. This year we were really lucky. We got to send 3 students because we had runner-ups tie. And they're going on to the county-wide, so Monterey County Poetry Out Loud competition. Different high schools in the area compete, and each sends their own finalist and runner-up. So it's a really cool opportunity for our students to sort of take these skills beyond our small community here, and it's really awesome for our students, I think, to see that even though we are a tiny community, we represent ourselves really well at that countywide level. Last year we placed second in the county. This year this year Nixia won first place. So I think it really brings some possibility to these students of, each year that program continues to grow because they go, oh, maybe I can do this because I know someone who did this last year. It's also a really great event to just kind of see what the possibilities within poetry are. The judges come from a wide range of arts and performing backgrounds within the county. They all kind of have these different positions around. They get to see what other students are performing, and they also got to see the Monterey County Poet Laureate perform. So yeah, I think it's just a really cool experience, and also just a way to see kind of the possibilities within performing arts. I think it's really cool for her too, and like I said before, this was someone who did this more than once. So the previous year she placed second, this year she won the whole thing, and I think that really speaks to the idea of practice and endurance and perseverance, that even someone that is gifted in this, it took her 2 rounds, and so I guess the lesson in there is sometimes it takes that second chance, sometimes it takes the third or the fourth, right? That we want our students to know that yes, these are opportunities, and yes, they're very talented, but these things are competitive. It requires a lot of skill and a lot of practice and a lot of commitment and perseverance. And but the flip side of that is we get to see what's possible when you do all of that. So Nixia is going to go on to represent us at state, and we're just so excited to see what happens there. So this happens every spring, right about December, January. If this is something you're interested in, I encourage you to speak to either your ELA teacher or come to me directly. I'd love to talk to you more about it. It's really funny that you mentioned about freshmen, because there was actually a freshman competing at the countywide level this year. And so there, it's not just something that happens with upperclassmen. Freshmen can do this from their very first year. And so if you love, I'll even take back a step. Even if you don't think that poetry is your thing, think about music. We all connect to music. We all connect to songs. That's what poetry is. So if you're someone that loves music, hint, hint, all of you might find that there's a poem out there for you. And so I would encourage you to try this, to kind of push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone. And we hope to see you perform in the future.
So proud of Anixia. Congratulations. You'll see Anixia again coming up in this series. Next up is Ms. De La Torre, who shares the learning opportunity for you to get real-life work experience while attending GHS.
Hi, I'm Ms. De La Torre. I'm the Work Experience Education Teacher Coordinator here at Gonzales High School. So the Work Experience Education class is known as WE, and it is a class for juniors and seniors. It is an elective. It meets the high school and college graduation requirements. So what is WE? I meet with the students once a week, and this is for students, juniors and seniors, that are actually and currently employed. They need to be employed for a minimum of 5 hours a week to be able to enroll in WE. And the students in the class meet with me once a week, and the majority of the hours that they're working, those are the hours that counts towards their class requirement. What do they learn in the class? They learn many things. We prepare students to become competitive in the workforce, so when they leave high school and they move on either to a 4-year university or maybe to a community college, they are prepared, they are competitive in the workforce, and they can apply for jobs either on campus or off campus. So once a student enrolls in my class, I also visit their work sites. So together with the employer, we assess our students' areas of strength and areas of growth. Working and knowing soft skills, it's a huge component of the class. So students, when they complete the semester, or they could take it as a year course, they are going to be experts in communication. They're going to be experts in team building, leadership skills, how to do effective writing, and they're also going to develop their resume. Students really improve in this class in all areas of soft skills, but also in the hard skills area, in the particular area that they're working, because we want them to learn transferable skills. So maybe they're working in a restaurant and that's not going to be their major, right? When they leave high school. But there's a lot of things that they can learn working in any type of industry that can be transferable, that they can transfer. It's a transferable skill for any job in any other industry, so they could be successful. So I look forward to having students come over at the College and Career Center. That's where I'm located here at the high school in room 52. If you or any parents have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And I look forward to having you in my class.
Hello, I'm Anissa Davila, and this is a continuation of part 2. Let's take a look at sports medicine and the Innovation Center. Let's get started.
All right, my name is Fidencio Cuevas, class of 93 from right here at Gonzales High School. I went to Fresno State right after high school and got my degree in kinesiology and sports medicine. Then I started working here about 10 years ago and was able to bring our sports medicine program out here and then help develop the pathway for patient care. All right, so with the program, sports medicine is a capstone course to our patient care pathway. We have an introductory course called Intro to Health Careers. And with that, students are exposed to 13 different careers in the healthcare profession, and that's a very good course to build foundations in a lot of different avenues that they might come across in the health profession, and some of the careers and jobs that are out there. The capstone course, like I was saying earlier, is sports medicine. That really focuses in on the profession of being an athletic trainer, or any profession that's within the under the umbrella of sports medicine itself. So we really try to focus on a lot of anatomy, and we do try to focus on management and a lot of other professions that do help take care of patients in active populations, and that's what they call it, sports medicine. So as far as science, I mean, it is health-related careers and health-related professions, so we do have to have a good foundation in biology, which is a prerequisite for sports medicine. As far as for some of the other sciences, chemistry is always helpful, and so is physics, right? But not necessarily required to take sports medicine. Sports medicine itself does count as a lab science at our school, and so does Intro to Health Careers, because we do learn a lot of scientific foundations there, and a lot of scientific concepts when it comes to some of the different labs that we do in those courses as well. Well, part of the requirements that they have, or the recommendations that they have, is they're able to help out with all sports teams. And so, for example, today, we have a softball game out here. So we have some students that are going to come out, help out for softball, and that goes from the pregame setup to covering the game, whether it be just softball or even during practices, because other teams are always going. I mean, that's one of the things about sports in a high school. It doesn't stop. It's happening from August all the way till May, and so there's plenty of opportunity for students to be able to come help out and be part of the team as well. For incoming freshmen, one of the things that they can do is do well in biology, because the requirement for sports medicine is to have a B or better in your biology class, just because it's a health career course itself and is deeply rooted in biology and chemistry. Now, Intro to Health Careers and sports medicine, those are also lab sciences, so it counts as the same category as biology. So having a good foundation in that really helps out when you are starting to take those courses and signing up for those at the end of your sophomore year. For sports medicine, there's a lot of different careers that are under the umbrella of sports medicine. There's the two primary ones are athletic trainers and physical therapists, but there's also EMTs, there's also sports psychologists, there's also nutritionists, there's also orthopedic surgeons, there's nursing as well, and nurse practitioners and physician assistant. So the goal of the course is try to give a good foundation so that when students are trying to, get into those programs, get into those courses, those schools after Gonzalez High School, is that they have a good foundation for those. Well, as with any course, I mean, and pretty much any program that a student is involved in, I mean, you get out what you put in, and so if you put in effort, you put in hard work, well then, it's going to be more rewarding. The more student is involved, then the more that they're going to get out of the program.
Hi, Richard Taverner here from the Innovation Center. We like to call this space the Exploration Factory. We call it that because we want to give students the opportunity to explore and prototype possible futures, to prepare them for an unknown future. They need to learn skills like critical thinking and creativity. They have to be flexible and learn new tools and new technologies. Let me give you a couple of examples. In behind me, you'll see students working away on a number of projects. This relates to a project in history. It's about Native American Indians, for example. So some of the tools that they're able to use on this project are a CAD software, computer-aided design software, and digital cutting tools. They have a maker studio. They're able to use 3D pens and 3D technology. We have a 3D printer here. We also have traditional and interactive art. We'll make traditional art and paints and pencils and what have you, but we also have interactive art. We're using electrically conductive paint, making the art interactive. It's a whole new type of art program that we have here. It's really exciting. The kids really enjoy that. As also in 3D printing, connected to art, we have a 3D printer that you can actually print ceramics. So we're combining old school ceramics with new school technology in 3D printing. We also have a full-on multimedia studio, in which you're watching some of the results of that in this series that we've been putting together. We can do podcasts, live streaming. Students also build websites and learn how to use all the equipment that we have in here in the space. Finally, we have a thinker space, an area of the room that's dedicated to brain exercises. We think that teaching kids how to think is really important, and we have a number of activities that we do in what we call the brain builder space. We have conundrums, we have crime scene investigations that kids have to think through critically, and we have all kinds of brain games and riddles. One final point about brain building, we also have a chess tournament here. We introduced chess into the Exploration Factory, and many students are involved in the chess tournament. It's been a lot of fun. Anyway, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to explore and prototype possible futures. We'll look forward to welcoming you into the Innovation Center.